So basically, the verbal communication, the definition is very known to us, and we more or less know what's going on. So the verbal communication is specially chosen because this is important for our presentation. Any kind of presentation, you cannot really do it the other way. It has to be verbal. So that is why we have to know about verbal communication. So if we want to compare it with non-verbal communication, there are certain aspects. In that way, we can kind of compare them. Like medium of expression. Medium of expression means the particular vehicle you use, bahon, you use to express your communication. So in that manner, when you are talking about non-verbal, that means one thing is really funny here, that even if we are using verbal communication, we are still using non-verbal cues, non-verbal instruments like my eyes, my voice, my limbs, the way I move. So these are, we cannot really go without it. We have to supplement my verbal communication with the non-verbal communication. So they are not really separated. You cannot really say that this is the verbal communication, this is the non-verbal. They are kind of intertwined together. Intertwined meaning connect, like wrapping one after the another. So that's the thing here. And when you are talking about consciousness and intentionally, the verbal communication actually requires conscious thought. Conscious thought in the meaning that you are using your working memory, like I'm doing now. And you guys are also. Although you are not really voicing your thoughts, you are actually trying to make sense of whatever I'm saying, and you are trying, you unconsciously is responding to that in the manner of nodding, in the manner of your look in your eyes. I can really kind of get some cues from you guys that whether you are understanding it or not. So that in that manner, definitely we are using verbal communication, but then again, it really on our the non-verbal things are on our shoulder also. All right. So the speed and efficiency. Verbal communication can be faster and more efficient way to convey complex and detailed information. Non-verbal is kind of, there is a time interval, or you can kind of not really very precise in terms of like if I say, what does it mean? I'm making a non-verbal thing. I maybe say, that means it can have different meanings. But when I add my voice to that, you come over here, you listen to me. So that way your verbal communication takes over and it is calling the shots. Calling the shots মানে হচ্ছে কি? এটা হচ্ছে প্রধান, যে ডিরেক্ট করে, যে কন্ট্রোল করে, হ্যাঁ? All right. In that manner, non-verbal communication is a bit slower. And slower in the sense that definitely you can see me snapping my fingers, but it is actually slower in terms of getting the meaning to the audience, from the speaker to the audience. It is slower, non-verbal. Okay? All right. Cultural and contextual variation. Verbal communication definitely is dependent on language. We'll also see that. We have already seen it. Those of you who were here in the previous classes, you have seen that. So, and what happens is that there is a caveat meaning you have to be cautious. There is a matter of concern that when you are using verbal communication, unless you are using the appropriate words, the meaning can be interpreted differently by different members of your audience. So in that manner, you have to be very, very careful. And non-verbal communication will have universal elements, but it actually, non-verbal, when you are like, what does it mean, Joel? You are standing beside the street and you are doing like this. What does it mean?
Different meanings.
In the American or Western concept, if you are standing beside the road and you are saying, that means you are asking for a ride.
Yes.
For whoever is passing in a motor car. When they say this, that means you want a ride. Or you are doing something, then you are saying, okay, that means it's great, good job. But in Bangladesh, sometimes when you use this, that means I don't care. so see? So it differs from culture to culture. So this will be very dangerous when you are doing like this you are standing by the roadside and you are say a truck is coming and you are saying, what if the guy is mad at you, he might run you over. So that is the problem. Okay. So that is why we're saying that cultural context and contextual variation, that is important to differentiate between verbal and non-verbal. Feedback and clarification. Definitely, it's the same story. If you are going for a feedback, definitely you get an immediate feedback. Like you guys laughed when I talked about that sign language. So the feedback is almost instantaneous. Instantaneous mane tatkhonik, shate shate. So, but in the non-verbal way, it will be sometimes less direct, and sometimes it is harder to predict. Sometimes it really doesn't get to you then and there. Okay, say. If you say, when I'm saying something, if you do not understand, and if you're like, so I might guess that probably you are not understanding. But if you say that, sir, I don't understand. So you see, the feedback is instantaneous. But for the non-verbal cue, it is a bit harder to comprehend, a bit harder for the audience to get a message to the speaker that yes, please go slow, we are not understanding. You cannot do that by your non-verbal communication. You might say that slow down, but still you have to say slow down. So that is the difference. Expression of emotion. Well, emotion, when you are using your body language or your facial features, yes, you can generalize certain expression, like if you are angry, if you are caring, you can convey that expression through your facial features, but still that's a general thing. You cannot, the communicator or the speaker, it can be hard for him or her to understand actually what kind of emotion you are throwing at him. So, but if you say it right then and there by using verbal communication, it is easy. So we see that although we cannot really separate them from each other, but one thing takes the precedence, the verbal communication. That really calls the shot. So that is the essence of this chapter. Okay. Yes, we have covered this. The slides are not really organized that much, but I will come up with that. I'll work on it. I just got it last night. Okay. All right. When we talk about language, why is language vital or important in terms of communication? It is important because when you are expressing your thoughts, it has to be clear and precise. That's what they said, the clarity and precision. Clarity means something is clear. Precision means exact to the point. So language really lets you do that, because the choice of words and their meaning and the structure of sentence, of course it depends on the cultural context you are in, because before midterm we said different way of speaking things in different languages. Like Joel corrected me when I was trying to say something in Spanish. So because I'm not a native speaker of Spanish, so I would not be knowing that because imagine yourself as a traveler. You are going to a Spanish-speaking country. You have your smart, probably a device that translates everything, but probably in a situation you do not have that. How are you gonna survive? It's gonna be very hard. On the other way, think about, well, sometimes it works, but nonverbal cues are not. Probably you want to say you have, like Joel's experience, probably he wanted to eat something at a restaurant. The things are very spicy. So how would he express them without using verbal communication? That's a difficult task. Or maybe, you know chorizo, right? No. The pork that is chorizo, yeah. That is mixed in what do you call that? The big yellow type rice thing where you have these snails, you have chorizo, yellow rice. There is a dish, I forgot the name. Everything is mixed together, chorizo, chicken, snail. That saffron rice, something yellow rice. But say I'm there and I'm saying that please hold the chorizo, do not give them to me. Say what happens is that usually we are not really, in Bangladesh we are not really very much used to things that when you are served a food, there are certain elements, right? So you do not say that, do not give me that. Usually that comes together. But in the other countries, you can say, like while you are trying to make a burger, you can say that hold the onions, do not give me the onions. Hold the jalapenos. Jalapeno is a very hot chili, very hot. And so you can say that, do not give me that. So if you do not use your verbal communication, say you don't want the chorizo. Oh, what is the chorizo? Explain, Joel.
Chorizo is something that is come for pork. In my country, everybody likes because obviously it's delicious. I don't know if we hear about hot dog. You heard hot dog. So chorizo is the part of the.
Although here we use beef for hot dogs.
Oh, beef.
Beef.
Oh, we use pork.
So they use pork. So once you are in those countries, you have to be, since Muslims don't eat pork, so they have to be very, very careful. So going to those countries and saying that, so do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm just trying to say that if you do not like certain food, unless you use your verbal communication, you are done. You cannot really, they will give you everything, so you have to like, and my first year in California, I went to a hotel and there was nothing left because the lunch hour is, I went to I was staying at a hotel. So they have a small cafe downstairs, but the lunchtime is over. But I was really hungry and I went down and there was a woman at the bar. She makes sandwiches. So I asked for a sandwich. She said, we have only club sandwich. So in club sandwich, they give you pork, right? In between. I didn't know that. So what happened, I took the sandwich, then I said, something looks fishy. Something is coming out of there. I mean, like the strip of the pork, strip of bacon is coming out. Then I said, oh my God, this is, I don't want to eat this. But then I was really hungry, so what I did, I just pull the strips of those bacons out, then I eat the rest. Still, I had no choice, but I had to eat. As I knew, then I just pulled it out. But if you wanted to go to the, if you said something to the bartender there's a waitress there. So if you said to her, she would not really understand that much. That why is it forbidden for Muslim guys while we all are eating it? I mean, I'm talking from their perspective. Yeah. So you see, verbal communication is really effectual when you are trying to deal with this kind of situation. All right. So we talked about shared understanding. It comes, we'll be actually repeating the same thing, because when you have a language, definitely a language comes from the shared lifestyle of a particular area. So when we talk about culture, how is a culture formed? It consists of the same people living in the same geographical area and the way they lead their life, like the food habits, the way they talk to each other, the way they show emotions to each other. So that is totally different than someone from the other geographical area. So that is why verbal communication, when we are talking about language, the language kind of works as a repository. Repository means somewhere storage of traditions. Repository, let me just, where is my, it is not really that important right now, but I think it would not hurt. Oh, here it is. Like I said, in my class, you guys can learn new words. It means storage. Storage to amra shobai bujhi na? Acha. So any repository means storage. So language is the, you can say, virtual or abstract repository of practices, cultural practices. Have you ever looked at it from that point of view? Something is floating in the air, and being the receivers, say in Bangladesh, when you talk about Qurbani Eid, when cows are slaughtered, they are, what should I say? They are actually dedicated, and we say that once we slaughter a cow, 1/3 should go to the poor people, 1/3 for your relatives, and 1/3 you can consume. So that's a totally cultural thing. In other countries, they say, what the heck? What is going on here? Why are they slaughtering? We should eat the whole thing. Why should we divide it? So that's the cultural context. And when that cultural context produces some words or some language that expresses the whole idea. So that is how in verbal communication you have to be very, very careful about the use of language. Okay? All right. So influence and persuasion, that is also done by language. Because if you want to influence someone, if you want to persuade someone, persuasion means persuading. Persuading meaning encouraging, inspiring. So if you want to do that, you have to use your language. There is no other way. I mean, like, you cannot just talk in sign language and inspire some guy. No way. You cannot do it. So another thing is that social interaction. Same thing goes here. For any kind of social interaction, although things are happening that is kind of worrisome these days, like most of the young people, they are used to communicating through texting. That is happening these days. But still, that takes the help of language. Your vehicle is your language, although this is in the written form. But one thing, have you ever noticed that, yes, probably this is faster, and I don't have to, in real time, I don't have to really communicate with the guy or the friend I'm trying to send this message. But still, this is probably not as effective as it would be had you used your language. So although we can get by using text, আমরা text ব্যবহার করে কাজ চালিয়ে যেতে পারি, but this is not as effective as your face-to-face, or even if you are talking over the phone. The real-time communication really depends on your verbal communication, your language. That's what is saying here. Problem solving and decision. So when you are trying to solve any problem, what is the utmost important thing that you need when you are trying to solve a problem with someone? That means you need some type of communication. That means you have to use some language. So it comes, I mean, you down the line or through the chain, you have to use some language. Education and learning. Again, it's the same thing. When you are talking about education, it is things are really stored in your language. Even if you are trying to read a book, you are trying to write something, you have to use language. So there is no way you can, I mean, sign language is one thing, definitely, but not everyone knows the sign language in any culture. Although this is a new thing coming up, right? That in Bangladesh we also see that when a newscaster বুঝিত না, সংবাদ পাঠক বা পাঠিকা, when he or she is reading some news, there is a guy in the small frame below the screen doing sign language thing, so that if someone in the audience cannot hear, they can understand what is being discussed or what is being said. All right. So adaptability or flexibility. So language actually, if you look at non-verbal thing or sign language, it has been almost the same thing over 1,000 years. Because we have 10 fingers. We do not have, we could not add more fingers to our, I mean, like when you are doing this sign thing, you would do the same thing that a guy born million years ago would do, right? So, but language kind of evolves মানে কি পরিবর্তন হয়. So it really helps you, because sometimes when I first, I mean, after coming back from the States, I was traveling by bus, and some guy called me, Mama, you have to do it like this. I said, Mama, what mean? Do you know, Joel, what's the meaning of Mama? Now, Mama is mother, but here they refer it to uncle. Okay. Okay? So another variation in language. So if someone says to you, Mama, where is the post office? So you understand that, oh, he's not mocking with you. He's not joking with you. You have to, oh, okay, this guy wants to know where he is just addressing you, like, buddy, where is the post office? That sort of thing. So it has evolved. When I left Bangladesh, it used to be something like Dada or Bhai. They still call Dada in West Bengal, but not anymore in Bangladesh. So you see, the language actually evolves, it changes. So what happens, these languages, these evolved words, they are actually added to your vocabulary, added to your language. You see, Pandit. Do you know the meaning of Pandit? Pandit means a wise guy. It has been already added to the English vocabulary. Many other things. Let me think of one. Can you think of one? Bangla othoba Hindi word that has been added to the English language. এরকম কেউ কিছু চিন্তা করতে পারো? এরকম word? Do you find any word, or maybe some Spanish word that has been added to the English language, very prevalent? Huh? Shalom, naki? Oh, that has come, that is very recent though. I mean, that is very recent. I mean, they're saying Israel, meaning you're destroyed, something, but the way Israelis are doing these days. That is very recent, but that is one thing about human brain. Things really don't come to you when you need them most. Let's see. Pandit is already used because he is a Pandit of biology. So any English-speaking people will understand that. But Pandit actually went from Bangla or Hindi. Huh? So that means that your verbal communication, you have to be really thinking when you are addressing an audience that what kind of language they are used to. That is the reason here we are discussing that. If they're like, but that also tells you that what are the words that you can use in formal or informal communication. If you are talking about formal communication, you cannot use mama. Okay, so or you cannot even use bhaiya, because that happened when I first started teaching. I was a lecturer, and probably I looked a bit younger than my age. So one of the students said, "Bhaiya, can I was like, I'm not your bhaiya." So you have to, and these days also, there is a difference. People are being very, very informal these days. So you have to think about that. That once we are addressing a formal gathering, you have to use formal words. Let that commotion be a bit lower, because yes, we have to sign the attendance, but not making so much noise. All right. All right. Building relationships. So definitely effective verbal communication. I actually built a relationship with you guys, although not that close, but you guys know me through the use of my languages. I mean, the way I talk, the way I try to convey some ideas, that is known to you guys, and that is, I will use a very unfamiliar word to you guys, idiosyncratic. Idiosyncratic, I don't think you guys heard it. Idiosyncrasy or idiosyncratic means very much characteristics. Like, yes, Mamoon sir uses this word like that, but no other people uses it like that in the manner. So that says that someone's own speaking style, someone's own thinking style. Achha. Idiosyncrasy, noun. Idiosyncratic, adjective. I feel like tethered to a tree, actually. See, I cannot really, this is controlling my movement, which I do not like. Okay. Anyway, so this is, so we have actually discussed that language is the foundation of any verbal communication, and it allows us to do so many things. Without verbal communication, actually we can see that if we look at the animal world, no one else can use language other than the humans. And so it is not surprising that humans are dominating Earth. See? Okay, let's see. So we will be talking about vocabulary. So vocabulary means the storage of language, storage of words actually. So this is actually comes to you very naturally from the young age, because if you see a child, the way he or she develops their speaking ability, it's amazing. And Noam Chomsky, you heard the name from me, I guess. So Noam Chomsky is a linguist. So he actually said, let me paraphrase, I cannot quote him directly. So he once said that we are hardwired for learning language. That means it is in our hardware, in our biological hardware. It is in our ability, biological ability to speak language, to speak. No other animal can do as good as we can. So that makes us unique as a species. So vocabulary is you can say word is the smallest unit of a language. Language is the collection of all the words. So we are talking about some words now. So word actually makes you better able to clarify your expression. The choice of words. I mean, I can be very blunt, I can be very harsh, but if I want you guys to do something or to help me out, I cannot be harsh. I have to be modest. I have to be polite. So I am toning down my language. I am actually making use of better words to communicate. If you are in a foreign country and you go to a person and say, yo, tell me where is this address? He or she may be very angry, or maybe their expression, get out of here, I don't want to help you. But instead, if you say, please, can you tell me where this thing is, where this address is? So definitely your choice of word makes a whole lot of difference. Communication and communication precision is the same story here, that you can, what is the meaning of precision? Right to the point, very good. So if you have to continuously choose a word that really matches your thought. Whatever you have to choose the most appropriate word that conveys your thought most appropriately. Remember in the last class, those of you who were here, we talked about Mark Twain. Mark Twain's that there is a difference between the right word and the almost right word. How? As the firefly is different than the thunder. Because the firefly is actually Jonaki. That has light, but that's a very, I would say, soft, not glowing light. But the thunder is like when it comes down to earth, it really makes everyone notice that. It's loud, it's sometimes deadly. So that means if you choose the right word, you can be as effective as the thunder, not like the firefly. So again, to you guys, if you do not understand anything I say, please raise your hand. Don't be embarrassed, okay? Raise your hand, I will explain it. All right, then comes professionalism. Well, if I am talking like I'm a DJ of radio while I'm in the classroom, it really doesn't serve the purpose, right? Have you ever heard, I think all of you must have heard how they talk. That won't really serve the purpose here. So that means I have to be professional. I have to do something that is standard for a particular thing. Professionalism means that you have to do something, you have to really abide by mane ki mene chola, abide by the standard rules when a particular setting requires. Kono ekta situation when it requires that you have to act in a certain way, you have to adhere to that. Adhere mane hocche oitar sathe thaka, mene chola. Acha. Then intellectual engagement. So when you are trying to talk to a person, if you want it to be a meaningful conversation, you have to use the right words. Say you are talking to a rickshawala, he, mostly it's a he, but you see female rickshawalas very rarely these days. That's a different story. We can talk about it later. But when you are talking to a rickshawala, you just cannot use your standard language. You have to come down to the level he is used to hear, right? Mama, take me to that direction. So next time you know, if you take a rickshaw, you say, Mama, take me to Banani. Okay. So, but when you are talking to a corporate executive, you just cannot say, Mama, I want to do business with you. So these are the differences. So that is why you have to be precise in your communication. The next comes adaptability to audience. So I am actually using my vocabulary in an effort to get to all of you. I mean, because since Joel is from a different cultural context, probably his vocabulary is a bit better than you guys. But I have at the same time, I'm struggling hard in my mind to be understandable both to him and you guys. So you see that is called the adaptability. You adapt to the audience. You adapt to the level of understanding that the audience has. Persuasion and influence. The same story here, that if it matters because last time we talked about abstract and concrete words, right? I mean, when that will not be needed for your exam right now, but we can still discuss that abstract words, meaning the meaning actually varies from person to person. So sometimes we use abstract word to persuade people. So we were talking about the speech given by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on 7th March in 1971. That's a cultural thing. What happened? Let me just to not leave you in the dark. So I have to explain it to Joel a bit in a few words. During the time of before Bangladesh got its liberation, there was a struggle and there was mass uprising in 1971. So during that time, the leader, the charismatic leader Sheikh Mujibur Rahman gave a speech to people that yes, we have to really break free of this oppression or economic exploitation by the Pakistani regime. But what happened, he directly could not really call for any independence war. So he had to take the use of certain rhetorical device. আমরা বুঝি সবাই rhetorical device? Rhetorical device মানে হচ্ছে rhetoric মানে হচ্ছে কথা রূপক অর্থে বা কথাকে কোনো একটা রূপকল্প বা একটা ইমেজারি দিয়ে বর্ণনা করা, এটাকে বলা হচ্ছে rhetoric. হ্যাঁ, আর rhetorical device যখন তুমি you use these as some kind of technique. So এটাকে আমরা বলছি device. Device means actually technique. It's not your tangible physical device, it's technique. So he used, I guess we can have some time to, or I can actually assign that to you as a homework, that listen to the English translation of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's speech and then try to understand how he used the voice thing. Or in the previous class I actually talked about Gettysburg Address. Joel, do you know Gettysburg Address? Gettysburg Address. It was a speech given by Abraham Lincoln after the finishing of after the ending of the Civil War in America in I guess 1863 sometime. So that is a part of American history. So that is a cultural context too. So because if I talk about, you are from Puerto Rico, right? Dominican Republic. There is a very renowned leader, used to be, his name is Cristobal Colon, who found the... No, not him. Oh. The guy who really worked for, really led for some kind of independence struggle or something. Some Cristobal, I forgot his first name though. I mean, because you see in New York City, there is a radio station called WBAI. Yeah. It usually is run by, there are a lot of program producers who come from Dominican Republic, from Puerto Rico, from different black neighborhoods, and white and Jewish. It's a diverse population. So anyway, so what happens is that the choice of word actually depends on the cultural context, and you have to have some good vocabulary to arouse that emotions, because Sheikh Mujib actually used a word called ar dabaya rakhte parbana. Dabaya means to push people down, to suppress, that you cannot suppress us anymore. That was his speech. I mean, one part of the speech. So that kind of resonated among the minds of the people. Resonate বুঝো তো তোমরা? মানে অনুরণন হয়, প্রতিধ্বনি হওয়া, যে ও আচ্ছা, he is talking about some kind of exploitation. So you see what I trying to say here, that you can use certain words that will ring true in your mind. You're used to that word, and that can be used to arouse you. Arouse মানে কি? Excite করা, কোনো কিছু করার জন্য উদ্বুদ্ধ করা. So that is one thing. Then effective storytelling. We have talked about it so much, right? The storytelling I also use a lot of time, and many a times the storytelling has a shared context, right? Shared context কোন সেন্সে? যে আমি তোমাকে যখন মামা স্টোরি বলছি, So we all know that this is how things are, this is how the conversation is conversation takes place in Bangladesh. So it's a shared context. So when you are talking about when you are really trying to use some storytelling, you just cannot see. Sometimes maybe I go a bit overboard মানে কি যে আমি হয়তো একটু আমেরিকান কনটেক্সট একটু বেশি বলছি, you guys sometimes get lost, তাই না? So that is because of my sometimes I really do not remember that yes, this part of the story is not experienced by them. Even in one's own culture, আমি যদি স্বাধীনতা যুদ্ধের আগের কথা বলি বা ইভেন স্বাধীনতা যুদ্ধের পরের কথাও বলি, none of you guys were there. I was there, although as a child. So if I say something, you would not get the same meaning as I experienced. I will say it like this, that on a cold December night, the Indian Air Force actually started bombing the old airport, okay? And there was a siren, and what would happen during that time, if the siren goes out, it is sounding everywhere, so you go to the trench. Trench is a trench, বুঝো তোমরা, মাটির নিচে গর্ত করা, উপরে টিনের চাল দেয়া থাকতো, so that কোথাও বম পড়ছে, কোথাও গুলি হচ্ছে, so that you can save yourself. আমরা তখন সব we used to go down to the trench. So you guys would not really believe, or maybe you guys would not really feel the way I feel when I look at that. আমার এখনো মনে আছে যে there is a mosquito like making noise behind my right side my ear, and it's very cold. We were sitting just very silently in that trench. So if I'm expressing that and I use the words that can convey the message to you, you guys are probably seeing that scene also by the use of my words, but probably you are not really experiencing the same emotion that I have when I remember that. আমি যখন এটা মনে করি বা আমি যখন এটা নিয়ে কথা বলি, তখন আমার মনে করো হয়তো গায়ের লোম দাঁড়িয়ে যায়, but same thing does not happen to you. But if I can, I'm not that much of an expert presenter, but if I am, then I can make you have goosebumps. Goosebumps বলতে এটাই বোঝায় যে যখন গায়ের লোম দাঁড়িয়ে যায়, but you are experiencing the same thing. অনেক সময় আমরা সিনেমা দেখি, horror movies, if you are looking at horror movies and you feel also a bit panicked when you see that someone is going to be like hit by a ghost or something. So that is the emotional attachment that can be done by using your words. Any effective storyteller can very effectively evoke মানে হচ্ছে বের করে আনা, evoke that sense, evoke that emotion from the audience if he or she uses the right words. It is very difficult though. I mean, like Abdullah Abu Said's speech তোমরা শুনেছো বা কথাবার্তা Abdullah Abu Said, you should listen to. মানে উনি যখন কথা বলছেন, you sometimes hear, you can really visualize. Although উনি খুব personal story খুব কম বলেন, বেশিরভাগ সময় kind of এক ধরনের সাবলীল, খুব কি বলবো এটাকে, যে সহজ ভাষায় একটা কথা বলছেন। উনি কিন্তু স্টোরি টেলিং এর একটা খুব চমৎকার উদাহরণ, আব্দুল্লাহ আবু সাইদ। মানে everyone will love, although he is very old now, like 80 plus something. So what happens, that really lets you play with the emotion of the audience if you are a good storyteller. Acha. Then cultural sensitivity. So a presenter has these potential dangers, সম্ভাব্য বিপদ। সেগুলো কি? If you are hurting people or not. If you are saying something that might hurt someone's emotion, someone's sentiment. So you have to be very, very careful in choosing your words. That is called cultural sensitivity. Articulating your emotions. এটা হচ্ছে কি, it's a opposite. You know that people will dance to your tunes. এটা একটা phrase, dance to your tunes মানে তুমি যেই বাজনাই বাজাও না কেন, people will respond to that. হ্যাঁ, so তুমি যদি ওই ধরনের ওয়ার্ড ব্যবহার করো, people will certainly listen to you. That when we talk about, see, how do the political leaders use these things? If we look at those things, we'll see that they try to use certain words. আমাদের স্বাধীনতা বিপন্ন, আমাদের গণতন্ত্র বিপন্ন, আমাদের কথা বলার অধিকার নাই. So see, এই ধরনের ওয়ার্ড যখন আমরা ব্যবহার করছি, we are kind of playing with the emotion of the audience. We know that people do not like if they do not have the right to express them easily. I mean, sometimes we endure it. Endure মানে হচ্ছে সহ্য করা, টলারেট করি আমরা, যেমন many a times বাংলাদেশের হিস্ট্রিতে আমরা এটা সহ্য করে যাচ্ছি, but we do not like it. তো কেউ যখন ওইটার কনটেক্সটে কথা বলে, then we get aroused. Acha, continuous learning. So when vocabulary, because you see, from my bhaiya to mama transition, কি হচ্ছে এখানে একটা continuous evolution of word. But if I have to adapt to that. So likely then the presenter has to also know that how has this language or vocabulary changed. So basically that is about the vocabulary. So I think we'll stop here and we'll go for some practice of speaking in front of the audience, because most of the people could not manage speaking in front of the audience. Okay? Okay, I guess